Good afternoon, everyone. It is a bright, sunny day. We're so glad you came out for the official ribbon cutting. And sorry to spoil the fun, the systems are on, producing power, so we're not actually going to turn them on or see any sparks fly, but we'll make it official by cutting the ribbon just outside here on the walkway after some brief remarks. To kick it off, we're very glad to have the gentleman who gave this arena its name, Jim Conway. The Conway family has been big supporters of a lot of Nashua nonprofits, including this terrific organization where many of us skate or our kids skate. So, Mr. Conway, would you kick it off, and then we'll hear from the mayor and a couple of other brief speakers. Thank
you. Thank you all for being here. This arena was actually the brainchild of Tom Monahan. And he came over and he talked to me some almost 20 years ago and said, I think we could do an ice arena in Nashua. He worked with the city, then Mayor Streeter, and took a few years. We raised the money, and it's been going strong ever since. Each year the arena has been able to give back roughly $60,000 to the community to support other nonprofits and worthy causes. We're thrilled that some people with revision, came up with the concept of putting solar panels on the roof here because we're a pretty energy-intensive business. And to the extent that we can offset that and people can enjoy the pleasure of skating in this facility, it's just fantastic. So thank you very much on behalf of the arena and Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you all for coming. This is a very important project for the city and is important in trying to meet our Greener Nashua energy reduction goals. Now, this is a big team effort to get this project done. The Board of Aldermen was totally behind it, and we have Mike O'Brien, Rick Dowd from the Board of Aldermen, and Jan Schmidt from Ward 1. I didn't see Jan right away. They were all very supportive of this, as well as our school board. Gloria Timmons and Paula Johnson are here from the school board. Ernie Jetty is here from the Board of Aldermen. Bruce Cohen as a state rep. So I want to thank everyone involved, all of our public officials for helping with this. In addition, we are working with David Worthen from Worthen Industries, who's helping to make these projects possible, along with Revision Energy, helping to finance these energy reduction projects. Of course, we are doing a number of solar projects. This one is kind of unique because we are in partnership. We're working in partnership with Conway. And the way this happened is that the city was doing two buildings, those being the transit garage as well as the Lake Street Fire Station. And Revision suggested that if we could get Conway as well, the Conway Arena, and join those three buildings together, we would produce more scale, and all of us would be able to reduce our energy costs even more than we would operating separately. So this is kind of a joint project, partnership with Conway, with the city, with Revision, with Worthen Industries, an entire team effort that is making this, moving this green agenda, our green plan of action forward. Doria Brown is here, the city energy manager, who's also working very hard on all these projects, so I'd like to thank her very much. So again, we're working hard for a greener Nashua. We want to reduce our carbon footprint. We have ambitious energy reduction goals, 25% by 2025, totally carbon neutral by 2050. Everyone is on board with this. We want to do more. We're working with our school department to do some school buildings. First, the Dr. Crisp School and Fairgrounds Elementary, and then we'll follow on with additional projects after that. But I do have a proclamation, which I'm going to give to Dan if he's here somewhere. But before I conclude, Dan is the driving force behind revision here in Nashua. He's worked with us on this project, on the school projects. We're looking at some other things that we're hoping to accomplish. Revision is a truly visionary company, along with Worthen, who's acting along with Revision. Without their help, without the help of the private sector here, we would not really be able to be nearly as successful as we have been so far, and I know that we will be in the future. So to Dan, I'm going to give you this proclamation. I'm declaring it March 3rd as Solar Day in Nashua, and I'm encouraging all residents to learn about the city's clean and efficient energy initiatives and to prioritize energy efficiency in their everyday lives. So thank you, Dan, and thanks, Conway. Thanks to everybody who has supported this project.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And now a quick word from David Worthen, president of Worthen Industries, the impact investor partner behind this project. David.
Thank you. So, I just wanted to thank everybody. I think this is an exciting day for Nashua. The concept, just to give you a brief background on Worthen Industries, we make stuff. We're a manufacturing company. Included in that portfolio of things we make is actually components for solar panels. Our two facilities here in Nashua, one at Spitbrook, one on 101A. We actually export over 50% of what we produce here in New Hampshire, and most of that goes the other direction, goes to or towards China and Asia in that process. So obviously, we're one of the few manufacturing companies still left of significance in the state, and sustainability is a big part of who we are. We have actually the largest rooftop array in the state, and it's not only important to us, and we have EVs for cars, some of us, and we have a requirement for the MP, the miles per gallon for each of our cars of being more than 40 miles per gallon for company cars. But it's also important for a lot of our customers, and that's a great sign of the future here, is that we're no longer having a debate of whether climate change is real, and it's more about actually finding solutions as opposed to having a debate on whether it's real or not. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Conway. It's a great roof, and a good roof is what you need. So thank you.
And I was just going to wrap it up and also invite any questions that people have for any of the brief speakers here. For a quick word on behalf of my 270 co-owners at Revision Energy, including the guys who are up on this roof over a couple of months, as Gary and his team well know. Gary Warner, the GM here, who runs an amazing operation. It's a tremendous honor for us as an employee-owned company, as a certified B Corporation, a benefit corporation, to get to partner with cities like Nashua and with other cities around the state. We take a lot of pride in building projects and going through a rigorous process, as we did with Nashua, through a competitive RFP selection, and then having the opportunity to build not just the two city projects the mayor mentioned, the transit garage just down the street here. Sorry, you can't really see that array from the ground either because it's a flat roof, but if you drive down Lake Street, you can see a bunch of solar panels on the pitched roof of the Lake Street Fire Station. But the city was committed to moving forward last year with the first two projects, and to get some more scale and get a lower cost of electricity, they partnered with Conway Arena, a private nonprofit, but on city land, so talk about a real partnership there. And as you heard, David Worthen from Worthen Industries came in as the financing partner. In brief, what that means, Revision, in order to make projects like this possible, smaller projects for municipalities, for nonprofits like the Nashua Soup Kitchen or Crossway Church where I attend, or others around town, to make these possible, we need folks, preferably local people, who have the ability to provide financing, tax equity it's called, because the tax credits are only available through the tax code, meaning a nonprofit or a municipality just can't get any of the incentives that exist for solar. But by having local companies or individuals step forward, as Worthen did here, and provide capital at well below the market rate of capital, we can provide a power purchase agreement, which means in simple terms that Conway Arena and the city of Nashua, the other two facilities, purchase the electricity from the solar panels. They don't buy the panels initially, so there's zero cost to install these systems, which cost more than $1 million all told to install. No cost to taxpayers or the Conway Arena, but they can then buy the power produced by the array at less than market rates, about 20% less than the current utility rate. So they can save money from the beginning. But crucially, Worthen Industries and our other impact investor partners have committed to offering an early buyout where after 5 years, the city and Conway Arena can decide if they wish to buy the systems back through a bond or through money in a capital fund, however they choose, and if not in year 6, then at a later year, whenever it works for the city. And from the moment they own the array, having gotten a reduced buyout because the tax credits are passed on through that sale, they can then generate their own power. So speaking as a Nashua taxpayer and citizen, a homeowner here in French Hill, it matters to me that we can not just help the environment by reducing carbon pollution, but also save money for taxpayers, starting today in smaller amounts and after 5 years in much larger amounts by generating free power going forward. So thanks again to Worthen Industries for being the investor partner. For me as a resident, also as a dad with 3 young kids, doing work like this makes my day. And it's so exciting to me to see the city of Nashua leading among New Hampshire municipalities in its commitment, setting some really big goals, 25% by 2025, in 5 years, 100% by 2050, and actually acting on them. I know in addition to these 3 projects, the school board recently voted to move forward with 2 even larger projects on 2 of the schools, and they're thinking about what schools might follow as the roofs are ready when renovations are completed. And so Nashua is on track, is a leader in New Hampshire, and is on track to go much, much further. A final quick note on some of the technical stuff, just for fun. Above our heads are 1,250 solar panels. These are 60-cell modules, about 3 times as powerful as this little guy behind me, although only about twice as large. They were installed over about 2 months, including, as Gary was reminding me, midway through we got a big snowstorm, so the crews were up there for at least a day shoveling a couple feet of snow off so the work could continue. But they were all turned on by New Year's Eve before the end of 2019, and they've produced already several megawatt hours of power, which is equivalent to several hundred acres worth of trees in terms of carbon sequestration, and many thousands of pounds of carbon dioxide offset, carbon emissions reduction. So these panels are producing whenever the sun is out, when there's demand for electricity in the building, and as you can imagine, an ice arena, especially as the weather warms, they need to keep it cool to keep the ice frozen. A lot of power is consumed, so most of the power produced overhead is used right on site. The electricity flows through the wires into the main distribution panel, powers the lights, the air conditioners, the whole facility. When there's extra power on a really sunny day and less consumption in this building, or certainly in the transit garage, which doesn't have so much going on, then those electrons flow out over the existing poles and wires and literally power the neighborhood. And as Nashua thinks of adding solar to the schools, not so much happening in elementary schools during the summer, those arrays will literally power dozens of homes in the neighborhoods as we get into the summer months once they are installed. And for each time a kilowatt hour flows out over the wires, a credit goes onto the bill of the facility so that they can save electricity costs. That's, in brief, what we have over our heads. Sorry you can't see it, but our friends from Nashua Public TV are getting some drone shots, and we'll be getting some more this spring, so we'll be sure to share those publicly. But once again, we're so grateful to all of you for coming out, the many city leaders that the mayor mentioned who were crucial to making this possible, hearing the proposals and going through. And another state representative, Catherine Safakaitis, I'm so glad you're here too. Before we invite you all to just head out those doors a few paces and join a photo for the official ribbon cutting, I wanted to present 2 little plaques. These are wood etched, and if I could invite Mr. Conway and the mayor to come forward once more, and David, if you wouldn't mind joining as well. So this is specific to Conway Arena. Forgive me, I said 1,250. I was rounding down, but 1,296 solar panels. Over the course of a year, that's enough to offset driving the perimeter of the U.S. 103 times in a typical average American passenger car, or to brew 21 million cups of coffee, or charge 46,000 cell phones a day, every day, for a year. Enough light bulbs for a typical home for 684 years, 1 year of power production, or to bake 170,000 pies in a year. Some fun facts there. So if the board decides to put this somewhere in the lobby, we invite you to do so, Mr. Conway. And then if the mayor can find a place at City Hall or some other location, this is for the 2 Nashua projects at the Lake Street Fire Station and the Transit Garage, which total 731 panels. I'll let you read the stats if you wish, but we wanted to memorialize these projects since they're not so publicly visible, with something that our fellow citizens in Nashua can enjoy.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Very good. Now, if you wouldn't mind joining, we've got a ribbon and some big scissors.
All right, so we'll count down from 5 to 1, and then we'll do it. How's that? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey!